something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware.
Let's start at the beginning. The Boston Consulting Group are a founding partner of Frontline. They've worked with McAllister and Frontline in a number of projects, and they continue to be represented on Frontline's board. Now, like me, you might ask, what are a consulting organization based in America doing influence and guiding massive changes to the social work profession in England? And really, it's difficult to know where to start with the Boston Consulting Group. You know, do we want to talk about the leaked documents that showed they helped facilitate billionaire Isabel dos Santos to plunder public funds in Angola, or how they are supporting the development of a 500 billion pound megacity project in Saudi Arabia that's displacing local tribes? But let's look closer to home. Their role in the 37 billion pound test and trace project that was recently confirmed by a committee of MPs to have failed in its main objective to break the chains of COVID transmission. 37 billion pounds is a really incomprehensible number to me and probably most people watching this, but not to a consulting firm like BCG, who are involved in a 500 billion pound megacity. So, and remember stories months ago about consultants working for Test and Trace being paid £7,000 per day as part of the Test and Trace program? Well, those consultants were none other than Boston Consulting Group consultants. And despite their failures on that project, it was reported at the end of October 2021 that they're still getting paid these vast sums and even holding what the Times referred to as, quote, lavish cocktail parties, end quote, while COVID cases continue to rage on their watch. Michael Gove has, unsurprisingly, been defending this spending as a good use of public funds, but it's also worth noting that Gove was instrumental in the founding of Frontline, so these political networks are probably something for another video anyway.
No, I'm not going to go down that road.
Okay, I am going to go slightly down that road based on recent developments around Gove and just general cronyism in England. So apologies if this gets a little bit convoluted, but in case you've been living under a rock, Michael Gove was found to be one of the main offenders in recent corruption allegations, referring his friends down the PPE VIP lane, most notably David Miller, who, after Gove's nod of approval, won £164 million in PPE contracts. So you should look up Miller, but predictably he's a big Tory donor, supporter of Gove. He inherited a large manufacturing company started by his grandfather, so he has a lot of money from that inheritance. He previously had a role in the DfE that he had to step down from after allegations related to sexual misconduct at the President's Club. Not exactly a stand-up guy. Miller also dabbled in schools, setting up his own academy and not so humbly naming it after himself. He's also been a trustee of the Policy Exchange that was founded by Gove and was finance chair for Gove's 2016 Conservative Leadership Campaign. He's been described by a former colleague in 2018, around the time of the President's Club scandal, as desperate for a peerage, something that became out of his grasp after the President's Club scandal. And these kind of nuggets of information take on kind of new meaning in the light of the recent cash for peers information that's been in the news. So bringing this back to Frontline and BCG, we know Gove has no problem in securing opportunities for his mates, despite their track records. So BCG, throughout both Brexit and COVID, have been one of the biggest recipients of contracts without tender or competition, relying on friends like Gove to make these sorts of contracts happen and using crisis as an excuse, because BCG's track record is shocking and certainly doesn't warrant the amount of our money the government regularly throws at them. Frontline similarly have received contract after contract despite their rather mixed track record, while their friend Gove has been in the government. Founder and CEO of Frontline, Josh McAllister, was also recently appointed as chair of the Care Review without any competition. It was appointed directly by the Minister for Education, the now disgraced Gavin Williamson. Oh, and as another little nugget of information, Williamson's replacement as Minister for Education was actually implicated in the President's Club scandal with David Miller. And Zahawi and Meller have also previously worked together at the DFE as part of the Apprenticeship Delivery Board.
Too much. This is too much. This is too much.
But beyond Frontline and McAllister's appointment as chair of the Care Review, basically anything that McAllister has his fingers in gets government funding, despite no real evidence of success. And McAllister, in turn, in his role as chair of the Care Review, has been overwhelmingly forgiving of the government failures around children's social care. So the fact that McAllister, Frontline, and indeed many of our so-called social work leaders are so close to corrupt individuals like Gove and BCG really underscores that we should be worried, because these parties have no real business being anywhere near social work. And we should be particularly worried that McAllister and his friends that he surrounded himself with in the Care Review now have their fingers on the button for future contracts that'll go to these private organizations.